What's going on, fam? This is Shag.
This Zeke.
Yeah. We're live. We're not live, but we're visual.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see us. You can see us. Here are the faces behind the voice of the black elephant. Are we gonna post this on our YouTube, or are we just gonna post this?
It might just be, we don't know yet. You know,
Okay.
It's dynamic. We decide when we decide.
Okay, cool. Let me put that. How y'all? Is the camera good for y'all? Is that good? Let me know. Give us some feedback if we need to push it down like this, or we need to go up like that. So this is 1, and this is 2.
What you think?
I don't know. I kind of like.
A little angle down.
Yeah. So 2 is the angle. 1 is the angle up. So I know y'all aren't gonna do it, but put 1 and 2 and come beside.
Yeah.
And subscribe.
All
right.
And subscribe.
So what led us to do this? Since we, I would say me in particular prefer the audio format, right? Then less to the visual format. Well, I guess I just feel like fuck it. Life is short.
Yeah,
life is short. I don't know what's gonna happen after. You know what I mean? And if we think about legacy, you know what I'm saying? We think about legacy. There are people who have lived 1,000 years ago who did a lot of good shit, and we have no idea who they are. And that's not to say that that's the purpose. It just made me realize, like, if we take somebody like let's say someone like a Jigga, right, or like a Michael Jackson, who's known worldwide, as big as this galaxy is, as big as this universe is, like, if they were a race of other aliens in another galaxy, they would have no fucking clue who Michael Jackson was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe and we don't have to go that far, because this planet's gonna be around for millions of years, despite what everybody thinks. In a million years, will anybody know who the fuck Michael Jackson is? Maybe not. So the reason why I say that is because it made me start thinking, like, man, like, if Michael Jackson, with everything he contributed, leaves no fingerprint, is like, I have to, doing this is like so, it's so small. You know what I'm saying? It's like the reach of this is so small. So, like, yeah, I mean, fuck it. Just, why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, my stance, my approach has always been life short. So, like, when we have a calling, like when we're placed in certain circumstances, you just gotta answer that bell. And I think that for me in my world, that makes the mark of a man. We just have to. If we happen to find ourselves in hell, it's like, am I gonna now be a devil because I'll be more comfortable, or if I'm an angel, in that, using those terms or whatever, am I gonna stay true to what I am? So,
So then that actually, so we were going to talk about some other shit, but you saying that just made me kind of want to throw something out there on the whole heaven and hell. And, we've had religious conversations on the podcast, but it's been with a lot of other people there. And like, you and I have never just talked to folks, you know what I'm saying, about, and that's where a lot of this birthed from, is from our conversations, you know what I mean? So I guess I kind of want to talk about my, what's the word? So if you evolve, what's the opposite of evolving? Devolving?
yeah, I guess
My devolution? I don't know. My
regression.
Or my progression. Actually, my progression in life.
Okay.
Yeah, my progression. And like, started with a stepping away from the religion. And that process has been going on for quite some time. But I would say in the last couple of years, it definitely became more. I became more aware of the how religious people can be, to the fact that we even talked about, like, you got folks who think smoking weed is bad, and it's simply, they want to say it's, first of all, it's legalistic and it's very religious. It's because they think their religion thinks smoking is bad.
Right.
But these same fools have like cabinets of alcohol.
Yeah.
It's like, what the, you know what I'm saying? It's like the contradiction is insane to me. And like, I came from a church that's going through some pretty crazy shit right now, and it's like I think about the pastor of that church. If I was hanging around with him, going to his house, fellowship with his family, if he came over, my parents would have been so thrilled. They were like, "Oh, he's on the right path." But if you would have came over, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, we gotta watch out for that dreadhead. He's dangerous."
Yeah.
Meanwhile, pastor is the one, raping people and, well, not raping, molesting people or manipulating people. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just the what's the word I'm looking for?
It's the surface level bullshit. It's just perception, the facade. You
Right.
know, that's really what it is, the facade of life.
Mm.
You know, people they kill you, murder, and rape you in a suit, and then tell you that the niggas that are sagging their pants is something,
Wow. Yeah.
criminal. It's just
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. That's crazy. And when you think about murder, that would be an interesting little social experiment to do, right? Go around the street and when you think about murder, what image comes to your head? You know what I'm saying? Like, then describe what does the person look like? And I wonder how many people would describe somebody who has a suit on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who works for corporate America, right? Because companies like Shell and Exxon, they've murdered people in Africa and other countries. You know what I mean? Like, and you just got a few people, you know what I'm saying? Like, who are in these. I know it's not a few people. You have people in these in the system, right? In the prison system, who are locked up, who are considered, those would be the images that go in people's mind. You think murderers, right? Should I would say you think about America. This country was founded on murder. But that murder was justified.
Yeah.
But I digress, man. I digress. Religion. So I guess I'll talk about, again, I keep talking about why I left it, you know what I'm saying, and why I don't consider myself to be religious at all. I think I've become more so somebody who's focused more on character and values, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's more about your values, your character, how you treat people, that matters to me. Because I've met too many religious people who think that it's crazy. It's like, we will do more for the community than a religious person would, because a religious person would feel like, oh, well, I don't need to do shit because I'm going to heaven because I have Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, like, we're not even thinking along those lines. We're just thinking like there's a need. You know what I'm saying? And who knows what's going to happen after? We just have to address that need. And so I know the conversations with you about like the historical accuracy, right? And sort of, you always talked about how outside of the Bible, what other source is there to
Validate,
validate,
verify, corroborate.
right? And all the corroboration comes from like Roman and Greek, and the white sort of lineage, right? There are no documentations from Africa or shit Asia that talks about this, at least in the early times. But there are. So my statement to that was that there are other, probably beliefs and historical, or there are other cultures that have their own history that are only corroborated by themselves too. Like, I'm sure the African countries or African cultures, or Russia or China, that their history, but there's still archaeology. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and even with that, see, when you make that statement, the difference already right there is completely different, because those the we're dealing with religion, so it's not like, oh, some other group or region has their history and it's only corroborated. Religion really, I don't really know when religion started, because I don't know if religion is even natural in Africa. I know there were practices, there were certain taking on certain beliefs. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Keep talking, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna add someone to this conversation.
Yeah. So it's like taking on different stories. It's not even beliefs. Taking on different stories to grasp a fuller understanding, a more complete understanding on nature, on astrology, on science, on how the body works, different shit like that. So it's not good to compare the two because they're not telling you this shit actually happened, and if you don't believe in this shit that actually happened, then you're not going to experience salvation. Your soul is gonna be destined for hell and different types of shit. Like that's not comparable. And that's about that.
Nah, I know I missed some good shit, but
yeah. So what I was just telling them though was you can't compare those other regions or countries you're talking about.
Okay.
They weren't telling you that these stories that we're making are literal, and that if you don't believe in this, your soul is destined and damned for hell and shit like that. All they were doing was providing fables and stories, to bring about better understandings of nature, of astrology, of different shit like that. So we can't compare what Christianity and all those, because those were they were created to say this thing that actually didn't happen is literal. Right. This person, to where I would have no problem with Christianity if they told you like, yeah, Jesus didn't exist. These are all fables and stories to bring about a better understanding of the sun and different things like that. Then it's like, oh, okay, it's just another one of those things that isn't even original, and it's just the same message. Right. But once you start saying it's literal, then if you don't obey this, then now we can't do that.
Yeah. Well, even like if I was to take a religious, if I was to try to take take a Christian perspective, let's say this is a debate, right? Oh, it's not a debate, but I'll put it like this, and this actually does not help defend Christians. It actually hurts them even more. But like even in Matthew, it talks about the disciples asked Jesus what the greatest commandment is. And it was, love your God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself, right? Those are the two biggest commandments is love God, you know what I'm saying? Love yourself, basically, and then love other people. There wasn't a rule book of things not to do. Jesus could have said, you know what I'm saying? If we want to go from the historical perspective that this person was real, is that he could have said, well, okay, I'm going to give you this now, but just know there's going to be a whole laundry list of shit that you need to do. But it's just like, he just said, love God, love yourself, and love other people. You about to say something?
Nah, it's just like, I just think there's no logical argument or discussion as to why to hold on to anything like that. Just because it's like, if you say it hasn't existed for eternity, meaning like when the world started, these books didn't exist, and if one is to agree with that, and then you say, well, were people doing good and doing what they were supposed to before the books? If you can say yeah, and then you can also say, well, do the books bring about, even if they do great, do they also do bad? Is there some confusion that comes with the book? So it's like, if even if it does great, if there's bad that comes with it, and people have been doing great without it, it's like, why not just drop it?
Right.
Why does the discussion go past that?
Really? Right. And then people would say, you don't want to throw the baby out the bathwater because it's good to it. But to your point, even if there is good to it, there's a lot of bad to it. And the good that it does have, you can get that from another source as well, too, right?
Thank you. So why get your potassium from Coke?
Right. Yeah. What would be the best place to get potassium from? Just like the bananas? Okay. Yeah, that's a good. Stay healthy, y'all. Alkaline. You know what I mean? Like, this is the sparkling spring water straight, right?
What you?
I just sparkling spring water, the same shit you got from Trader Joe's.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. All right. So I'm good. I'm 100% alkaline. I got some strawberries, some apples, and some agave syrup. Um, and that's another reason why I'm different because like Christianity didn't preach healthy eating. It doesn't. It preaches like anything goes, right? You can eat whatever you want. And that's dangerous because we already know the impacts food has on your body. Why would a God that loves us tell us we can eat anything that we want? You know what I mean? And when he knows those things can actually harm us and kill us, even if it's in moderation. You know what I'm saying? It's like it.
Yeah, and it just doesn't tell you what to eat. Well, people would say like in the Bible, not people in the Bible, they say like the the fruits and herbs are for the healing of the
Right.
nation.
Right.
They say like the fruit is actually supposed to be man's meat.
Right.
I think in the Old Testament it will say shit like stay away from that swine.
Right. Yeah.
And different things like that. But again, it's not telling you what you're supposed to. You know what I'm saying? It's not complimenting one's life. So
Yeah.
it's like you don't need to know that. The way we conducted us is like you give the baby support and it starts crying. Can't give it that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's very. We don't need the book. Wasn't innovative in that. It wasn't revealing anything that we didn't even know, even with those little things.
Right. Again, once again, you can find those sources from other places. You know, you can get things that add value to your life from other and like if Christianity is helping you live a better life, if that belief is helping you treat people well, it's helping you actually care about your community. I don't have a problem with that. It's the people who use it, who are self-righteous and who use it to manipulate and control. That's the problem I have with it. And then it's like, I guess, so if it's not Christianity, then it's like, what is it, right? And there's a lot of people who aren't leaving this because they're afraid. They're afraid, like, if I leave this, where now? Where do I go now? What do I do now? You know what I'm saying? It's like, what do they do now?
They start meditating. They start looking within. They start getting outside into nature. They start listening. They start detaching. Like turn off the TV. Turn off all the voices that are telling you do this, do that. Detach from all of that. Try to strip down to the bare essential, and then go through a cleanse. Go through a physical cleanse. Cleanse your body from a lot of the toxins that's poisoning your mind. That's not allowing you to see that clarity, experience that clarity. Um, cleanse your body from the chemicals, the parasites, all that type of shit that's affecting your thinking. When you go through that cleanse, meditate, go out in nature, that voice, those things that are gonna now come to you at that point, that's what you do. See, the answer is there.
Right.
I'm not inside you to give you the answer. The answer is already inside you. So it's like your personal mission, your individual, purpose, shit like that, it's gonna come to you. But I do know that once one goes through that cleanse and shit like that, that purpose, that ambition, it's gonna just happen to fall in line with the purpose and ambition of a lot of others that are God bodies, that are good. You know what I'm saying? So that's really what it is. If one is like drop that and then start, you know, investing into yourself, start cleansing yourself and shit like that. That's what to do. That's what to turn to you.
Right.
Yeah.
And you alluded to something that I know you always say, and a lot of Christians struggle with is being able to identify as God, right? What's wild about that is that that's exactly what Jesus did, right? It's like Jesus just said, "I am God," and the religious people of that time went ham on him. They said that's heresy, blaspheme, and if we really think about it, like every Christian should have that mindset. You know what I'm saying? It's like, isn't like my understanding, and this could be just a theological gap I have, right? And I've never fully could understand this piece of the religion, but the idea is that you have Jesus live inside of you, and we believe Jesus is God. So if Jesus is living inside of you, if he's inside of you, it was like, what does that make? What does that make you? If his spirit leaves in you, is like so. And then I always know Christians that the prayer is that God leads and God takes over, God takes control, God takes control. It's like, so you want God to take control. Maybe it's time just to admit that maybe that, that's you. Like you take control. You take control of your life. You take control of how you move, and it's empowering. I think when you feel like there's another source that's going to save you, it makes you very, is it apathetic? I think apathetic and very maybe I don't know what the word is, but you don't really do much because you're leaving it to somebody else. Docile, yeah, exactly. So I think since I started to realize my divinity and how divine I am, it's empowered me to take more action because I'm like, hold up, no one's actually going to do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they're waiting for God to do this, well, they're waiting for me. You know what I mean? Because, and even if you want to take the Christian mindset, is like God uses people, right? That's what Christians preach is God uses people. So when is that? So how do you know if it's you being used? I've never had God just show up to me like maybe in a dream possibly, but that's always up to interpretation. So at what point do you finally say, oh yeah, God is speaking to me. I need to do this. But I feel like a lot of Christians, and they also won't act because they're not gonna like this. They're content with the way things are. No one wants to rock the boat. A lot of Christians are getting that retirement fund. Go ahead.
And on top of that, the majority of Christians aren't Christians. Like they don't actually believe. They don't actually truly, full-heartedly believe in it because if their book, number one, there's no Christian that's gonna how it's very coincidental that in this Christians will say this world is sick, it's not a good world, woo woo woo. But it's very very coincidental that God or Jesus never comes to them and tells them to do anything that goes against what the law says in terms of this sick world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So yeah, people don't really truly believe. They're not.
Say that one more time because I think you said something there.
Yeah, it's very funny and coincidental how in this sick world that Christians would all agree like, oh, you're in the world but not of the world. Mm-hmm. They'll tell you you're the light of the world is dark, that's why there's all this shit going on, woo woo woo. It's like, okay, cool. So now with the Christian people are supposed to be the light.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how God or Jesus, in terms of anything that they're talking to them to do,
mm-hmm.
it's never anything that's gonna actually get them, like in harm's way in the eyes of the establishment.
Okay,
meaning
okay.
Like,
I'm gonna take the defense, but finish your point.
Yeah.
Finish your point.
It never tells them like, hey,
break the rules. Go against the rules.
Go against the unjust laws.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, try to try to be diplomatic with the laws.
Okay. All right. You done?
Yeah.
All right. So I was gonna say one thing, but then it was switched up at the end. Okay. So I would say that they have been Christians who have gone against the law, right? There's Nat Turner, who is a pastor, right? You can't go any hammer than that. And then, even look at what Martin Luther King did. That was a direct attack on the system. Now, was it violent? That's different. That was nonviolent, right? And I thought, towards the end, that's kind of what you alluded to, right?
Yeah, and also
diplomacy.
Yeah,
and everything,
with
right?
I don't think Nat Turner even went against the law though. Because at that time, there were no laws that said don't kill white people. It was just
slavery. He went against slavery, which was the law. That's what he was. That's what he was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Slavery was the law. Okay.
Slavery was the law.
And then with Martin Luther King, you know that nigga ain't go against no laws. Like there was no law saying black people aren't allowed to say, "Hey, white people are beating us up," and turn the other cheek. Like that wasn't against the law.
Well, he went against the establishment. Like that's so you look at the boycotts, the bus boycotts. There was civil disobedience.
You have there was no law that you had to ride the bus. There wasn't a law saying y'all niggas gotta ride the bus. He just said, "Hey, let's stop riding the bus." Like we can be saying, "Let's stop shopping at Walmart."
But there were also times where he, like, I guess there were, I don't know if it's city ordinances, but I remember even in the movie Selma, I guess the whole march, like there was an issue with it not being lawful or whatever, and they still marched
They
anyway.
had police escorts during the marches.
They did, but there was like, all right, maybe that wasn't the best example. I would say that, and I don't want to make Martin Luther King the example for all Christians, but I'm sure there are people who would claim to be Christians who have done things that were against the law.
So you would be talking about anomalies. Christians as a whole, there's not a movement as Christians that are like, yo, as Christians, we don't fuck with laws A, B, C, D, E, and F because they disenfranchise our home.
Gay marriage, that's a law. They don't fuck with that. Gay marriage.
What do you mean they don't fuck?
They don't fuck with gay marriage.
But by doing what?
They're
not like
condoning it.
But no, there was a bakery like in California, whatever, that I think there were the owners. They were Christians and they refused to serve these gay customers, and like they went to court. But that was in violation because you had to serve people regardless of sexual orientation. So that was
but because it's a private entity. Like if you have a private business, you can, just like a private business or anything can say, this is a boys only thing. This is a girls only thing. This is a Asian society club. Like,
right.
So with a private restaurant, just like Chick-fil-A.
Check this out though, but even with private, like even companies are private, like Best Buy, you know what I'm saying? Well, are those public because you can buy stocks in them? Okay. All right, I got to research that, but I won't say much more on that until I do some I learn more about that. But I get your point. But I will also say I'm sure there are people who would claim to be Christians, but they're anomalies, right? Like in general, most Christians are going along with the narrative, and if there's anything they oppose, it's like abortion.
Talk is cheap. And again, if you oppose abortion, and you're only saying I oppose abortion, but you're allowing the people that, if abortion's evil, what are they doing to stop the evil? Just talking? Because the evil people aren't saying they want abortion. They're actually, like when they say they want to do something, they do it, as opposed to say we just want to do that. I wish white people and all of that would just be like, we want to disenfranchise, black people. We just want to do it.
Right.
Now they're gonna actually do it. So.
Right. On that note, I'm about to grab these Brewer bananas.
Yeah.
Now I want you to try one on camera so you can see
the action. How's everything go? Good, man. You got the fresh cut.
My homie hooked me up with that. Them Dominicans, man. Them guys got the haircut game up there sewed up. They know what they doing, bro.
Feeling good?
Yeah.
You want to say hi on the camera?
Wow. Don't matter.
Yeah, say what's up. Yeah, this the man Dre right here.
Yo.
Yeah.
I just gave you one just because in case it's not.
What's up, peoples?
Where's the this the Burrow.
Yeah.
The Burrow banana. So I'm about to take a slice. He's crushing right there. And I got the cool fork.
Oh my god. That does look good.
Oh my goodness.
That does look good.
This is heaven.
Healthy eating so you can get big and strong. For real.
Right. Yeah. You might also go try on camera too.
Bet.
So they know.
Say no more.
They know.
This is.
If you want to tell them who cooked it either.
This is legit.
This is what the church won't tell you about, right?
Yeah.
Where's
this in that book? Because I know this is definitely going to complement and benefit my life today.
Right.
And furthermore.
How is it? Let me know.
This little banana right here. It's good stuff.
Yes, sir. So,
Yeah.
this is so good. It's like agave. Oh, I don't want. Oh, y'all didn't hear that. Hopefully, Mike can pick it up. I'll tell you what's in it later. That's legit. Wrap up. Oh, do you got something to say about the religion, Dre?
I'll say this. Regardless of anything, again, we know white folk has had their hand in practically everything. And they've manipulated it for their benefit. You know, for their means and ways of control. So I'll say this about the Bible at least. If it was kept in its original form, not tampered with, not touched, or nothing like that, a couple of things. One, there would be different views about it,
Okay.
I personally think.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Straight up. And number two, perhaps people would actually even live differently, you know? Because it's like there's so much confusion and deception that has been created by the Vatican because of it.
Now the question begs to be asked. What did that original Bible look like? Like who holds that original Bible? Did the original Bible have, I don't know how many books is in the Bible, 66 or something?
Yeah, see, it's 66 now.
Now, but I'm saying, did the original Bible have 102?
I
Or
personally
did
think it
have
was more.
100? Okay, did it have 800? Did it have 754? Did it have 759?
See,
And the
we're-
one that was left out, it's like, if we don't have any grasp, like any like we don't have no knowledge, like we can't go to we can't look within any of our culture to be like, well, that's a complete book, that's a complete work with
Mhm.
that, because
Mhm.
it's so different from us. Like even the original Bible was written in Hebrew. But the question I was asking though was, where outside of the Bible is there a written work from anyone saying, I'm Hebrew and this is what's going on? Where is there anything outside of the Bible that says these Hebrew people are A, B, C, and D?
Mm-hmm. Good question. But I also have this to say about it.
Okay.
If Christianity is, you know, false and this and that and has been since the beginning of time, why tamper with it? Why make something a lie or try to manipulate it to the point and make it a lie if it's already false? It'll prove itself wrong.
Right.
Why are you trying to prove it wrong if it's already wrong?
But then the question, how do we know, for me to know something is tampered with, I have to know what it looked like originally. So if I don't know what the fuck the original book even looks like, I can't even say it's been tampered.
So then, but then how can you also, like, either take shots at it or not believe it or whatever the case may be if, again, you did have the original form and it was not like how it is now?
But I'm saying,
There was no original. What is the
I
original form?
don't know what the original
Never seen
Bible
it.
looks like. I've never
And he
seen
didn't
it.
say it was tampered. Like, he never said the Bible was tampered with.
I mean, I personally think it was.
But you would, for you to think that, you would have to have in your possession, mental possession, a copy of the original work, so that you can know. It's like if I hear a song, the original song, and then I hear someone remix the song,
Right.
It's like I know that's a remix because I've heard the original.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's a original. The remix is an original song if I've never heard the original.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, that makes sense.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You already know the different translations, right, of the book. There's beliefs there are books that were left out.
And why were they?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they are. I'm sorry. That's
which ones were left out and how many? It's like even when we say there were books left out, how do we know someone didn't say there was books left out?
There's one that I'm gonna get on with the audio because I actually have it on my phone. Josiah put me onto this, the Book of Adam and Eve. Yeah, that was an actual book that was either left out or whatever the case may be. I personally think for relationship purposes, that book does not need to be left out
But also now peep this.
for relationship purposes.
With the books in the Bible, the name of the book is pretty much the author, right? So like,
Not all the time.
oh, so
Yeah.
So like
Mark-
act is not like act.
yeah,
Revelations.
because that's not a name.
No, and like sometimes they places like Ephesians is a place.
Yeah.
Philippians is a place.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I'm saying, but those aren't names. There's no guy named Philippian, and there's no guy.
Because he
named,
said there were
But
places.
there are people
yeah,
like
no.
Mark and
What I'm
Matthew.
saying is, if there's Mark,
Mhm.
that means it's written by Mark.
Right.
If it's a name, like someone's name, it means that's the author of that chapter. That book.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so when you say that Adam and Eve books got left out, so we're saying now also that Adam and Eve were writing too.
No, that doesn't. I mean, it could mean that, but if it
And
does,
even
then
with
that's a
Genesis-
direct account.
I mean,
That's a direct account from them.
I don't think that's what it was. I think what it was is there's a book called Adam and Eve that's about Adam and Eve. It
By
likely-
who?
Or
By-
that.
by who?
Probably by I don't know. I gotta see. I gotta look in the
See,
book.
I think
But even if the Bible is fake, there's still authors to the fakeness, right? So we still have to ask the question who are the authors, because it wasn't like it was immaculately created, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So somebody wrote something.
Right, and
Like,
it
what's
no
up?
doubt.
Right, and I know the council,
But it's
the council
Romans
Nicaea,
wrote it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the council Nicaea we're talking about, like they
Right.
put all that together.
yeah, it was humans that wrote it. Like we can date back to the people that were writing this shit, but like it's easier for me to trace that back than for me to believe like there was someone writing about the Adam and Eve account.
Well,
I mean-
the Adam and Eve account is based on oral tradition. It's based on what people in the Abrahamic religions
Yeah.
passed on from generation, supposedly, right? That's where that story comes from. It wasn't like Adam and Eve had a pen and a paper and were like, let's write. That would be ridiculous. I don't think anybody believes that.
But this is, I mean, I guess other than, a few things that we've been able to find, like all of our history hasn't been found, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be. So basically we're living in a time where we're all seeking and searching for,
No.
the truth, if you will. Because it's
Because-
like there's so many things that have either been hidden or been kept from us.
Yeah, but then, I mean, there's a lot of things that have been hidden and kept, and that I think that speaks to why our culture, especially, holds so much relevance, because with the agenda to destroy our history and to have us move away from what from who we are, with all of that attempt and that being the agenda, we still have artifacts in place that exist today that through their carbon dating, through their archaeological dating, shit like that, they're able to date that to certain time periods that predate all the shit we're even talking about. And it's like, with them trying to hide our history from us, why it's like, why would they? There's things that we can go there now
Mhm.
and still see.
See, and with that, even in the timeline, now are those actual real dates, or are those dates that were just randomly given to us?
And then now that's where you remember we were talking about
You
that.
see what I'm
It's
saying?
like you could,
That's where I was
Right.
going to.
You
So
feel me?
if we're gonna do that then though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I don't even know how old I am, because am I just going off of they said it's 12 months
Mhm,
and really my
mhm.
physical, you see, so it's like,
or where do we get the fact that Jesus lived 2,000 years
Yeah.
ago, or that the Bible was created? It's like it's all based on the same things, carbon dated. So when he says that we have things that predate, it's based off of the same, I guess,
same,
system,
time-
timeline.
the same
Right.
way the same way
Yeah.
they figure out that the Bible was created back then. It's the
Yeah.
same way they figure out that the pyramids pre-existed.
and
A lot of the same stuff.
the crazy thing is, it's the very same people too.
Yeah, it's the same
It's
people.
the same people
So-
that are also, well, no, what I'm saying is, it's the people that don't want you. If anything, they would be telling you the Bible is dated to 500,000 years ago, and these pyramids are just something new. But they're not able to lie because other people can learn how to,
Right.
carbon dating can be learned. There's an actual science behind it.
Yeah.
So you can tell us anything, but now there's going to be someone who also knows how to do carbon dating that might not want to go with that story.
Mhm.
So they're making us, the people that want to cause the confusion, are also at the same time making us look greater? I'm asking.
Absolutely not. They don't want us to look great.
Yeah. So why would they predate our shit to theirs? Like, why would they?
Why would it sort of be insinuated that we were before any of their like religions, their philosophies? Like, why would it look like Africa was the origin of civilization based on the way they date things, right? Like that would
Yeah.
give a lot.
I mean, see, with that, at the end of the day, there's no disputing that. That's the reason why they did that. There's no disputing that Africa's the motherland. You can't. There's nothing you can do that will confuse that.
But we only say that due to the same carbon dating with everything that we would say we don't know how old the pyramid is. It's like they're saying when we're saying we know Africa is the motherland and all of that. That's due to carbon dating. That's due to having artifacts, different things come from that land that date anything else that they're able to find outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
and I mean, just even think of it from its natural resource, type of thing. Something natural or its original place, it has everything.
Mhm.
The continent of Africa has everything, everything.
But it didn't have one thing. In this great land that had everything, it somehow didn't have the Bible. It somehow didn't.
See, that's the thing. Like, honestly, if you ask me, I think as far as with the African culture and different things like that, because again, all that stuff started over there. It started over there. I personally think the Bible was a part of it, and they just manipulated that to confuse it.
But then
That's just what I think.
if you hold that thought, right, then it would be corroborated by the fact that as soon as an African is exposed to Christianity, it triggers something. But it's totally
but it triggers something. Why? Because of what they've seen?
No. I'm saying, for example, if we're speaking a language, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's another language that is derived from the language we're speaking, when we hear that language, we're gonna be like, oh shit, that sounds like our joint. It's gonna spark familiarity.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say, yeah, the thing started from there, the Bible was just taken there and then manipulated. So then when they
Give them a con. So go ahead, man. And
No,
then
no.
let me finish what you're saying because I'm going to help Trey
Okay.
understand what you're fully saying.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when that Bible, when they're taking those original things from Africa, that Bible you said, and then manipulating it, when they're now presenting that manipulated work to the original people that it came from, they would be like, oh shit, that sounds familiar.
Right.
Like it would jog their memory in terms of
Are
like,
you
oh,
sure?
this is
So no,
Maybe they manipulated to a point where it would just be like so crazy to the point where now you come from being a king and a queen to now this book is basically making you feel
now
like
think
slave.
about what you're saying. You're saying you're able to see that book and say, oh yeah, there's similarities from Africa or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And those same Africans that weren't even as far removed from that got presented that very book that you're able to see that it came from there, but it didn't jog their memory. It's like there's no.
So basically, Dre, Zeke is saying that Christianity was first introduced through slavery. Now, there are Christians or people out there that would say that Africa was introduced. Christianity was introduced into Africa prior to slavery. So once it came on the shores of when the people from Europe came on the shores of Africa, it wasn't anything new to them. It was not their first introduction. That's the discussion. He's saying the first time it's ever been introduced was when they enslaved them. You would have to believe otherwise for that not to be true, to completely refute his point.
Mm-hmm. I get it. I get it.
But on that note, I got to use my laptop.
Yeah.
I got to get done. So, Peace. We'll continue the conversation. Yeah.